episode of our podcast, Youth VoteCast, conducted by the National Youth Foundation. And we're here at the Youth Center with yet another of our French interns, Benno. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for accepting our invitation to be a part of this podcast. So let's start with some words about you.
Well, thank you very much for having me. My name is Benno Begovic. I'm 19. I was living in the UK until about a week ago. I was born in France, so I have French citizenship, but not UK citizenship. I have a right to remain in the UK, which is a thing after Brexit. Basically, if you have been living in there for 5 years, like continuously, you have the right to remain if you are not a citizen of the UK. If you haven't, then you don't have the right to remain or the right to work. With this, you have to come back to the UK every year just for 1 day to keep the right to remain. So it's quite annoying, and it makes me want to get a British citizenship. But also, if I get the British citizenship, that will mean I have two. And in some countries, you can't have more than two. And like, if I want to have a citizenship of another country and I have the British one, maybe I won't be able to get that one.
So you have to,
I'm not
cancel one
sure
of them.
I'm not sure like what is the best option to do that, because it's annoying having to come back, but also there is that. So yeah.
Okay, so basically you're a resident, a French resident in the United Kingdom. So how has this thing, like being a French resident in the United Kingdom, influenced your perception on democracy? And like also the electoral processes, both in France and in the United Kingdom? Because you said you are involved in both. In the UK, not fully, not in all of the types of elections, but like how does this thing, like having a French citizenship but living in the UK, has affected your perception on this? And yeah, is it confusing sometimes, or?
It's very confusing. I thought that because I mean, I've been living in the UK for 10 years. I thought that there might be a way for me to vote for Parliament, but as a EU citizen, you are only allowed to vote for the Police and Crime Commissioner, the Mayor, and your council. So I didn't vote for the Police and Crime Commissioner because I didn't even get a letter or anything. It's not like, it's not a big vote. Everyone talks about it, you know.
Thing in the United Kingdom to vote for your like police commissioner.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds interesting.
I mean, I think it's good, but like no one knows about it. Like I've never heard about it until researching it today. Like, yeah, like it would be good because the state of like the police in the UK is abominable, and like people need to vote for that, but it's not known about. So change is like, I don't know, it's much easier in France to change something and to actually like get people interested in changing their way of life and their laws and like, how they live, like politically, And also, as a French person, I've noticed that in the UK, people can't demonstrate, like people don't demonstrate. They don't go out in the streets and rally for what they want. Like, obviously they do, not way as much as France, and it doesn't like get anywhere,
Yeah, I guess it's just like a difference of culture, I would say, 'cause,
Exactly.
like,
English people are a lot more like kept in, and they like to complain but not do anything about it, Yeah.
Yeah, but like France is like a Latin country, so I guess it's in our blood to be like loud on something.
That, and also like, the revolution and everything, we have that in our like country DNA, So they just don't have that, and it makes things quite annoying because with the state of like politics in the UK, like young people want to change things, but also they are kind of kept away from the like politics side. Like they can't inform themselves very easily. And also there is so much misinformation in the UK about political parties and what they want to do and
their programs or their role.
What they want to input into the government. And so it's happened a lot of times where like leader will say something like Brexit, for example. People did not know anything about what actually would happen after Brexit.
What notable differences have you observed in like how elections are conducted in the UK and in France? And do you think there should be like let's say unitary voting system everywhere? Like maybe also like let's say in Europe, like all the countries, whether you're in the European Union or not, should have like a unitary voting system.
I think that would be good because I was living in England. Like, I didn't really know how the French voting system worked, and also I came to Romania a week ago. So there was the French elections, and I wanted to vote online, but I hadn't registered fast enough. The close-off date for the second round was on the 28th. So if you didn't register online to vote online by the 28th, you couldn't do it. So I literally registered on the 29th, so I couldn't vote. If I had been in England, I would have been able to go to Bristol. So how it works is embassy is in London, so you're registered to the electoral list of London, but you go to your nearest voting booth. But thing is, the nearest for me was is an hour and a half away.
Oh.
I couldn't vote online, and I couldn't vote by procuration either because you need to be French to vote for someone else. I only know my aunt in England who's French, and she lives in the same city as me, so she's an hour and a half away, and she has kids, so she can go there to vote either. She voted online, so I had no way to actually participate in this vote at all, because of where I was and my situation.
Yeah, so it's pretty difficult, you say, for French people to actually vote from abroad because there's this whole
Not really, because there's you can vote online, but it's you have to really do it yourself. You have to register yourself, and I needed the help of my aunties basically to show me how to
do it,
register online, and it's really complicated, and it's just if there was a simpler system,
So the roles reversed there a bit, your aunts taught you how to register technology and stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. Regarding political campaigns and stuff like that, have you noticed any differences between the UK and France? How is
I
it?
don't really know about France because last time I lived there I was 9. I can't really remember, but in the UK it's quite weird. You'll just be watching something on the telly, and the ads will come on. One of the ads will be for a political party, which I don't know. I find that quite weird to have that on TV, but I guess it's normal. I don't know. Do you have that in Romania?
On the television, I think no.
No.
I haven't seen any of these. There's no ads directly on the television, but we have some channels that are mainly focused on politics, and that's where they invite all the candidates and politicians to have discussions. So I guess there's some kind of ads, but not really. It's more official, let's say.
I see. And also another difference, you can vote by post in the UK, but you can't vote online. If you're living abroad, but you're a UK citizen and you don't know anyone in the UK to vote by procuration for you, but then you can't really vote if you're abroad. I don't find that very democratic,
Yeah. So do you think like these difficulties actually like have an impact on the, let's say, drop down of voting presence among diaspora, for
I think
example?
so, definitely, because well, yeah, it just it keeps people from voting.
Yeah.
So there is obviously going to be a difference. Also in the UK, prisoners can't vote unless they are like sentenced for crimes like not paying fines or debts or for contempt. Prisoners serving like in the community or like at home with a tag.
Mm-hmm.
And also prisoners waiting for trial. So there are currently 95,526 prisoners in the UK,
Oh wow. Okay.
and around 10,000 to 12,000 estimated at any time to be in that category. So that leaves about like 85,000 people who would be able to vote if they weren't behind bars, you know?
Yeah.
And also, like, if you're a prisoner and the prison system, which it is completely like archaic, you know,
Mm-hmm.
is that the right word?
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
guess so. Yeah.
But like, if you want to change that, if you're a prisoner, you're the only person that really knows how a prison is, you know, and like everyone else is voting for prison rules, like laws for prisoners and like how it works, when they don't know at all, and the people who actually are living in that don't have a say on how it works, you know. So it leaves it makes it so that like you can't change the situation you're in for the better, even though you're a citizen and you might have done something wrong, but because you're behind bars, you know, you can't have a better life for yourself. You can't vote for a better life even for yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have the chance, you know.
Yeah, and it's a pity actually that, and also this is not like a subject that we're talking about here in Romania as well.
Yeah.
And
Are you allowed to vote if you're in prison?
I think so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's possible. Like it's their right also. So I guess there are like polling station in prisons as well.
Yeah.
I have to check this information, but it's a really interesting and curious topic to talk about.
Yeah, it is, because in France, you don't have this. If you are over 18 and you have citizenship, you can vote. You know, I think that's the right way to do democracy, because
Exactly.
everyone that actually benefits from the country can vote for what they want, even if you have done something wrong, even if whatever, you're still a citizen of the country.
Exactly.
And everything affects you. You know. Yeah, but about the like unitarian like voting system, I think they should set up one system to vote online, and then every country can have whatever else like procuration, ballot, post, whatever they can choose. But I think at least there should be so that every country has the same like online voting system, you know.
So yeah,
Because I'm not sure
make
if
this digital.
I'm not sure like how different the online voting systems are in countries, but I imagine they're like different.
Yeah, and I mean it's not really popular because, for example, in Romania we don't have it to vote online. We only have to, not even through correspondence. So, but we have like an mobile poll, which like I don't know if you're in hospital, for example, and you cannot go to the polling station.
Like you're handicapped.
Yes, or even if you're like living in a isolated area, you can request for a mobile polling station to come to your
so they come to you and
and you just put the ballot in and that's it. Yeah,
not bad.
Yeah,
but also like I think if there was a solid system where everyone can vote online, I think a lot more people would vote, because like, you know, some people are like, oh, I can't be bothered to vote and walk down to wherever, or
I have to dress nicely and go to the polling station and do it.
Yeah, or even asking for mobile polling station. Some people are like, oh, you know, I don't want to do that. So just online, and then you can actually have a say in how your country is run and how your life is, you know.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for answering our questions.
It's been an honor.
I'm really glad to hear this. And thank you as well for watching, and see you in our next episode of the Youth VoteCast.